So this review is going to be about the Accountant 2, and I just got out of it, and Accountant 2 is pretty good. I would say it's not as good as the first one, but I loved it. It still has the same amount of like, it still has the same amount of scenes. It still has the same amount of scenes in those movie in this movie as the first one, where there's some action scenes and non-action scenes, but the main shoot 'em up scenes are at the very end of the movie. John Bernthal and Ben Affleck are amazing. Oh, hold on. John Bernthal, and Ben Affleck they're both amazing in this role. They're both awesome in this movie. You have more time with Braxton and more time with Christian. J.K. Simmons' character is the one that gets them together with the same agent. With the same agent that was in the first one that got them to work together. And this movie is just, it's all completely different from the first one, but it's also, he's more on the road this time instead of in a house with only just a bed and some chairs. And then you see him in his Airbnb, you see him in his Airbnb RV, and it's in the garage. So this time he's traveling around the world, and then they go to Mexico. It's a very cool film. If you haven't seen the first one, I highly recommend seeing the first one. But if you haven't seen the first one, I highly recommend seeing the first one. If you are going to see this one, again, it's a little different from the first one. He's more living in his little Airstream, and this time he's not really has his own business anymore. He's still doing his business, but not his own business in that little town he was in the first one. No girl from Pitch Perfect is in here, and Anna Krijic, or whatever her name was. She's not in this. The only people that came back were John Bernthal and Ben Affleck and J.K. Simmons were reprising their roles. The action scenes are here and action scenes in here are good. They go to Mexico, and that's like the last shoot 'em up scene. I just love The Accountant because The Accountant actually has a disability called autism. I have a slight bit of that myself, and there's another person that is part of a church group I go to that has it, and then another friend of mine that is like a sister to me in church. He has in church and outside of church in real life. Her son has it too, a high functioning, and they do unique different things. Now in this movie, he still does this before he starts things. You don't see it before he shoots his gun, but you see it a couple times before he eats, and going on a date. And he went on some speed date. He went on speed dating, but he didn't date no one. He was just doing it through his own algorithm, and I thought that was funny. I thought that the chemistry with Braxton and John Bernthal's character Braxton, with him as Ben Affleck as Christian, and they had a good dynamic this time instead of just meeting them at the very end. But the autism part of this is very interesting because most people with autism wouldn't handle shooting the gun. Loud noises distract them, and then also hyperfixate on some things. And in this movie, you see him more hyperfixating on this case, and for like one word of one person said, I don't have a kid. Yeah, I'm fixating on that too. I'm gonna go outside now. Yeah, we're fixated on that idea, and you see them. You see them constantly do that in real life. They can be hooked on something, like for example, they can be hyperfixate on. Like something from a movie, something from music, something from anything that's in their interest. So like if you have a kid that has autism or a friend that has autism, you took them to Minecraft and they love Chicken Jockey, they will be hooked on Chicken Jockey the whole time. Stuff like that. But it's amazing just to see this movie. It's amazing to see a character that has this because it represents people with disabilities, learning disabilities, autism, learning disabilities, any type of disability that makes people different in the world, but also unique in this world. And also some people look down upon that, and some people don't. Some people praise it. Some people say it's a superpower. Some people say it's good, like you're doing a good job of what you're doing in life. And this is why I love this movie. Even though it's an action, shoot 'em up movie, this guy, Ben Affleck's character, is just so much enticed of being who he is, true to himself. He's weird and different and unique. Even John Bernthald's character Braxton says, "Oh, you're the weird kid." I'm not weird. He calls himself not weird because he's not, but it's just a cool. It's just a cool understanding of this character, but it's a cool understanding of someone with a disability, someone that has a learning problem, a learning thing. And that doesn't mean they can't function in life. People with autism can function, higher functioning ones can function, but it's just different things that they hyperfixate on, and it's all that. But in this movie, you don't see too much of that. You see like one or two scenes of him hyperfixating on that, and you see his brother really hold him down and try to make him be normal, and that's why one person in my life. Well, two people, my movie bro, but also the other person I mentioned, assisting me, holds me down to normalcy and knows when, knows that when I'm upset, sad, mad, happy, but when I'm upset, she knows where to bring me back to reality and back to life. Back to reality, back to life, back to normalcy. And that's what also Braxton was doing in this movie with Christian Wolf. Bringing him back to reality in sometimes, and also Christian was bringing back Braxton back to normalcy, because sometimes he, even though he doesn't have disability, autism, he brought back his brother back to normalcy. So it goes both ways. It's just a little different from the first one, but I enjoyed it, and that's pretty much all I had to say about this movie. I loved it. They still show the explain. They They still explain and show that disability. So, if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe. And this movie does have some action in the middle here and there, and there's more of a character study on both of the characters. But at the end, you see more of shoot 'em up. But again, like I said, that's part of this movie. But if you like this movie, put a like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell, and deuces.